on, guys, I'll be talking about X-Men crossing over with the Avengers. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Well, I think it's a bad thing, but I'm going to go into the opinion part later, but I'm going to say my reasons why it's not going to happen. A lot of people have been saying, oh, I would love to see the X-Men crossing over with the Avengers, like Spider-Man swinging with Wolverine, and all this other stuff. Before I actually get into my reasons, a lot of people don't really know, so I'm going to put this out there before I even bother telling you guys the main reasons. X-Men is not owned by the same studio as the Avengers. Yes, they're both Marvel, but they're, like, that's Marvel Comics. You would see a difference, like, when they don't say Marvel Studios for X-Men movies, they just say Marvel. The Avengers have Marvel Studios. There is a difference. Yeah, Marvel, when you don't see the studios, that means it's not by the film company. When you see Marvel, that means inspired by or based off the Marvel Comics. That means they're not owned by any of the same, companies. They're two completely different things. Avengers is owned by Disney, and the X-Men is owned by Fox. So now that's out of the way. Let's get into reason number one, smoothly transitioning into part one. Not the same studio, but I'm going to explain why they'll never cross over, because there's some studios that actually crossed over before. This is never going to happen because Marvel Studios hates Fox, because the deal they made in like the 90s, because Marvel Studios was in debt, like, even though it wasn't Marvel Studios at the time, they were trying to become a studio, so they had to sell some of their biggest characters, which was the X-Men and Fantastic Four, whatever. So they sold the X-Men, and they sold, like, there was a, like, difficulty contract, if you will. So they have the rights for movies for the X-Men, but they don't have the rights to the comics. They don't have the rights to make t-shirts for it. So there's a rumor going around saying that Marvel Studios is cutting down any of the X-Men comics or any shit like that. And they're still keeping Deadpool because he's such a beloved character. But they are cutting them down because it's revenge or something like that. So that's reason number one. They hate each other, and I don't want them to hate each other, but, I mean, like, they have some beef. So, I mean, you can't, it's like trying to make you work with that guy in school that you cannot stand. Every time you want to look at him, you just want to spit at him, or spit on him, you just hate him that much. Yeah, it's like that. You just, they can't, you have to have, like, Universal break it up or something like that. Just a studio fight. They hate each other. So that's number one. Number two, it's not really necessary. It's not necessary to have these two universes combined, because X-Men has so many characters, and Avengers, their universe, I'm calling them the Avengers because it's, I'm not going to call them Marvel, because then I have to say Marvel Studios, the confusion, but yeah, the Avengers universe is already getting so many characters. It's not necessary to make it even more difficult for same screen time, because X-Men focuses on like one or two main characters. The Avengers, their universe, unless it's not titled their name. If it's Captain America Civil War, that means it's going to be focusing on Captain America. If it's an Avengers movie, that means it's going to focus on every single one of them on the same time. So it's going to be really difficult to see how they do that with Avengers Infinity War. But it's going to be awesome to see that. But X-Men and Avengers have totally different styles. So it's not going to be fair. It's not going to be fair, because they're going to ask, like, if say just Wolverine was going to cross over, if it did happen, Wolverine, they're going to request him to have all screen time. He's going to be on screen at all times. It's not a Wolverine movie, but they would do that because that's what they do. So, like, their styles are too different and blah, whatever. And number three, I really don't want to see them cross over. This is my opinion. I don't want to see them cross over for the same reason I just said, because I don't want like Wolverine having 90 minutes of screen time, and then I see my beloved like Spider-Man only getting 15 minutes because of Wolverine hogging up all that screen. I don't want that. I mean, there's ways to write around it, but like I said earlier, the studio hates each other. They just hate each other so much that they won't collaborate that well. Those are the main reasons why they're never going to cross over. I want to hear your thoughts down below. Why are they never going to cross over? Do you want them to see them cross over? I want to hear your thoughts down below, guys. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and all that crap. Later, and goodbye.